Hello, everyone, and welcome all of you to Unacademy. Unacademy is undoubtedly India's largest education platform that has helped thousands of students across the country to crack toughest of examinations with top educators, quality content, and offering a great learning experience. With Unacademy, you get the access to unlimited live and recorded courses from India's best educators. Therefore, let me welcome all of you on Unacademy. But first, let me introduce myself. I am Tasneem Ahmed, and I have completed my master's and MPhil in English. I have also been certified in TESOL. I have trained 1,000 plus students, and I have 8 years of professional teaching experience. Therefore, be rest assured you are in good hands. In this video, I will be touching upon a few errors that we make in our regular communication. Before I proceed with the topic, let me get back to take you back on Unacademy and give you a little more information about what you will get at Unacademy. Well, number one, you do get daily live classes where you can chat with your educator and engage in discussions. Number two, you get to assess yourself with live tests and quizzes. Number three, you get structured courses, and then you get unlimited access. With one subscription, you get access to all our live and recorded courses to watch from the comfort of any of your devices. All you have to do is buy the subscription and get free live classes and prepare with top educators and get the comprehensive syllabus for mathematics, social science, Hindi, science, and English. Well, besides this, you also can talk to us on Telegram application. All you have to do is download the Telegram application, type the link in URL, and click on join. One last thing is to install the application, Unacademy Learning app, on your device. And then finally buy the subscription that you have over here. You have 6 month subscription, 12-month subscription, 24-month subscription, and then 36-month subscription. And if you are a ninth grader, you have a 48-month subscription as well. If you are a ninth grader, I would suggest go for the highest course subscription where you get actually 67% off discount, wherein you will get the subscription for your 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Well, not just 67%. If you type the code TA01, you get extra 10% off discount, and you will get the same course for 4 years only on the payment of 36,000. For 4 long years, you will only be paying 36,000. Well, if that seems too much, let us break it down on monthly basis. And for a month, you will only be paying 750 rupees. If that also seems too much for you, then break it down on a daily basis. On a daily basis, you will only be paying 25 rupees, which I certainly don't think is too much. Well, it is definitely for education, and 25 rupees for a day for your education is the meager amount that you will be paying. So remember to type that code TA01 and avail that extra 10% on the existing discount, and buy the subscription for 48 months if you are in ninth grade. And if you are in 10th grade, I would suggest go in for the 36 months course where you get the discount of 64%. And with this code, that is TA01, you get extra 10%, and you can avail this course for 800 rupees a month, which is for only 27 rupees a day for next 3 long years. You are sorted for next 3 years if you pay 27 rupees for a day, 800 rupees a month. If you find it difficult to pay this amount in one go, you can also avail the EMI options for both 9th and 10th. Well, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and buy the course today, buy the subscription today, and become the subscriber of Unacademy and start learning. Now let us proceed towards today's topic, which is common errors in English. Well, Regardless of how well we speak or communicate, at times we end up making a few errors. Not because we are not aware of them, but because we are so much used to expressing a few expressions generally, that we are so much used to them that we actually forget that they are errors and we continue using them. But just because we use them over time doesn't make those expressions correct. We need to be aware. We might be good in our grammar, we might be good in our reading skill or the other skill, but then when it comes to communication, we tend to make these errors because we are used to making them over time. But doesn't, like I said, just because you are using them over time doesn't make those expression correct. Therefore, it is important that you check those mistakes, check those errors, and correct them and use them correctly in your communication. And in this video, I'm going to be touching upon a few errors that you can uh, make a note of and then correct yourselves while you are speaking in future. So without any delay, let me proceed with the first error. Well, we commonly make a few mistakes with conditionals. Like, for example, I have heard, well, in fact, many of us use this phrase, if I would have known. If I would have known earlier, I would have come. Well, in this statement, you probably would be asking me, what is the error? The error is the usage of would. We do not use would over here, but instead we use had, like this. If I had known earlier, I would have come. These are conditionals and they have two clauses, clause number 1 and clause number 2. So when you are using the if clause, we always use would, which is incorrect. You are supposed to use had. Remember, it is if I had and not if I would. So make a note of this thing and remember it is if I had. Number 2 is with the again with the conditional, and the statement is, unless you don't listen to me, I won't speak to you. Now, can you guess the mistake over here? Well, let me say that to you. Unless you don't. Well, unless is in itself a negative word. Well, then why have we used a negative word again? Doesn't it make redundant? Using two negative words in a same statement? That doesn't make sense at all. Unless itself is a negative word. It means if not. So, which means that the next verb that you are supposed to use in the statement beginning with the word unless is a positive verb like this. Unless you listen to me, I won't speak. When you begin the statement with unless, it should be a positive verb and not negative, because unless itself means that if not. So when you have already used a negative term, there is no point using another negative term in the same statement. It makes it redundant. Therefore, avoid it and try and use a positive word when you use unless. When the statement begins with unless, it is a positive verb. Make a note of that. The next one is using redundant phrases. Redundant phrases as in using same words with same meaning repeatedly. As in, I repeated it again. Well, in this statement, you could probably be asking, what's the mistake here? Well, repeated it again. Repeated again. What is the meaning of the word repeated? Well, the meaning of repeat is to do it once again. So when you use the word repeat and again in the same statement, it is a redundant phrase. You are using two different words with the same meaning, which is not necessary at all. Therefore, the correct usage is I repeated it. No need to use again in this statement. It only means that you are using another word with the same meaning, which is repeat. It's more like I repeated it, repeat, which doesn't really make sense now, does it? Well, that's correct. Therefore, avoid using again if you are using the word repeat in your statement. Now let us move on to the next one, which is pretty much about redundant phrases again, where we end up using the same words with different words with same meaning. Like over here, she was in close proximity. Now, close also means in proximity, and proximity also means close. Well, these are synonyms and they both mean one and the same. And I certainly don't see any sense in using these two words next to each other while they mean the same. Doesn't make sense at all. Therefore, the correct usage would be she was in proximity, or you can also say she was close. But close proximity wouldn't make sense at all because they both are synonyms with the same meaning. So using the same word next to each other doesn't make any sense at all. It only means redundant. Therefore, avoid using this phrase and try sticking to using one phrase with one particular meaning. Either she was in proximity or she was close. The next one is end result. This is pretty much popular. I mean, like we all use this on a regular basis. That was the end result. In this statement, you can see end result. End also means at the end. Result also means at the end. So using the same term, two different terms with same meaning again makes no sense at all. Therefore, the correct usage is that was the result or that was the end. Either one, any one, use either end or result, but using them together wouldn't make it really correct. So avoid these kind of words, these kind of phrases, and use the correct one. The next one is when you have a statement when you have a phrase like this, past history. They were speaking about their past history. Well, what is the meaning of past? And what is the meaning of history? Well, these are again synonyms with the same meaning. Past, talking about history. History, talking about past. Well, both mean one and the same. And I really don't see the point in using them together next to each other. It doesn't make sense at all. Therefore, the correct usage would be they were speaking about their past or they were speaking about their history. You can either use past or history, but putting them together doesn't make us look smart. It only makes us look dumb. Therefore, avoid this statement, this phrase, that is past history. It is a redundant phrase. The next one is, it was a blunder mistake. It was a blunder mistake. This is a huge blunder that we often make. Blunder, mistake. They again are same with the same meaning. They are synonyms. They both mean one and the same. And putting them together again, just next to each other, doesn't make them a bigger mistake, but it only makes sound stupid. Therefore, the correct usage would mean it was a blunder or it was a mistake. Do not ever say it was a blunder mistake. I seriously don't see any sense in the statement it was a blunder mistake. Either go with it was a blunder or it was a mistake. Next one is, we should laud our successful achievements. That's correct. We should laud our successful achievements. Really? Successful achievements? What is the difference between the two? Success, achievements, aren't they pretty much same? Aren't they synonyms again? So why use them next to each other? That doesn't make any sense at all. Therefore, the correct usage would be, we should laud our achievements, or you can say we should laud our success. But using them as successful achievements will only mean that you are using a redundant phrase, which doesn't make any sense. Therefore, avoid this usage and try using achievements. We should laud our achievements. Next is, Many true facts were brought to light. True facts. Well, what is the meaning of fact? Can somebody explain? Facts means already a truth, already the truth that are out there. And we are trying to say true fact. Doesn't make any sense at all. Therefore, what you can say is many facts were brought to light. You shouldn't say true facts, but then facts. Facts are proved to be true, and using the term true facts is redundant and senseless. Therefore, many facts were brought to light, not true facts. The next one is he is a young teenager. Wow. Young teenager? Seriously? Teenager is between 13 to 19, isn't it? Isn't he or she already young? I don't really see the point of using young again in front of the word teenager. Totally not appropriate. He is a teenager is the correct usage, not young teenager. That would mean redundant again. Therefore, avoid this and use this. Again, they will have to redo it again. Like I told you earlier in another slide, redo it again. It is again redundant. It is again repeating the same word. That is redo again. Not necessary. If you have already used redo, then you were supposed to eliminate the word again and stick till here like this. You will have to redo it and put a full stop. That's it. No need of again. Or you could also say you will have to do it again, not redo. Be careful. You will have to do it again. This would make sense, and this also would make sense, whereas this wouldn't make sense at all. But trust me, we do use these kind of phrases, these kind of sentences very often, which we must be mindful of and avoid using these kind of statements. Therefore, the correct statement is you will have to redo it or you will have to do it again. Avoid these kind of redundant phrases. The next one is using unless and until in same sentence. Unless and until she invites me, I won't go to the party. Unless and until, I really do not see the point of using until over here when you have already used unless. That again means that you are using a useless phrase, which is a redundant one, and you need to avoid this. And the correct usage would be unless she invites me, not unless and until. Well, yes, very often people do we all use this phrase like unless and until, but then just because we all use it doesn't make it correct. It is certainly incorrect. Avoid it and use only unless. Unless she invites me, I won't go to the party. This is the correct usage. Avoid the usage of unless and until. Unless and until is a redundant phrase which is supposed to be avoided. Next is, it would have been more better. We are so much used to using this phrase. I have heard many people using this phrase. More better is an incorrect usage. It's not more better, it is much better. It would have been much better, not more better. So be mindful of this thing. Can you get me 2 Xeroxes of this paper? Well, Xeroxes is incorrect. You do not say Xeroxes, you say photocopies. Xerox is a name of a company that used to produce the photocopying machines. And people actually got used to using Xerox so often that now it has been termed as correct usage. No, it's not correct. It is still incorrect. It's a name of a company. Doesn't mean that it is a photocopy. The correct usage is, can you get me 2 photocopies? Or you can also say copies. You can either say copy or photocopy. Can you get me 2 photocopies of this paper? Or can you get me 2 copies of this paper? Well, it's not a full stop. It's supposed to be a question mark because this is a question. So there we go. The correct usage is photocopies and not Xeroxes. Avoid using the word Xeroxes. The next one is anyways. Let's go now. Anyways. Using the plural of this word is incorrect, because when you say any way, in itself says more than one way. I do not see the point of making that plural. There is no necessity of you adding a letter S over there. You will have to avoid it. Using the letter S has in fact is an error. Well, people are using it so much these days that actually they are considering it as correct, but then it is not. Anyway is grammatically correct. Anyway, let's go now. The same goes with no way as well. You do not say no ways. It's not anyways, it's not no ways, it's no way, it's anyway. Be mindful of this error. Just because you use it repeatedly doesn't automatically make it correct. Incorrect remains incorrect even though you use 1,000 number of times. So just be mindful of these things. The next one is, it was Amy's and Ben's car. Now over here, it's pretty obvious that we are referring to one car, because it and car both are, this is a singular subject and this is a singular noun. Therefore, obviously we know that we are referring to one car over here. So why are we using apostrophe S to both these nouns over here? This only means that we are referring, when we say it like this, we are trying to say that Amy has one car and Ben has another car, which means there should be two cars. But we are not referring to two cars over here. We are in fact referring to one single car, and this one single car is being possessed by Ben and Amy both. So in this situation, you do not add the apostrophe for the first noun. You only use it for the second noun that you use in that statement, like this. It was Amy and Ben's car. You do not say it was Amy's and Ben's car, but you say it was Amy and Ben's car. When you are referring to one item or one thing and you want to show the ownership to both the nouns, in that situation, add the apostrophe only to the second noun, and that should suffice. Using it like this is incorrect. This is the correct usage. And the next one is, Shelley and me took the course. Shelley and me is not correct. Shelley and I is what is the correct usage. If you have been using it as me, avoid it and try using I from now on. The next one is, he writes good. It's not he writes good, but then it is he writes well. You're supposed to say he writes well and not good. Well, be mindful of these errors. And the next one is, one of the flights are late. Well, it is pretty common that we confuse this as our subject and decide that are is our verb. But then this is only our prepositional phrase, and one is our subject. It is our indefinite pronoun, indefinite singular pronoun, and this being the subject, the verb should be singular. If we consider this, then this is our prepositional phrase, and prepositional phrase are not to be considered as subject entities, but the subject is what comes before the preposition of. Therefore, one is the subject over here, and one being singular, the verb should be is and not are. Therefore, this is incorrect. Be mindful of your prepositional phrases. Avoid your prepositional phrases while deciding your subject and verb agreement. So when you have a prepositional phrase in between, you will have to stick to the subject alone and decide your verb, which is in this case singular. Another thing that you have to keep in mind when you are using your prepositional phrases is that one of the flight. So when you are using something like this, one of the flight, you are actually referring to more than one over here, not just one. So using it in singularity means it's an error. You are saying one out of many. So when you are trying to refer to that as many, it should actually be in plural, always. One of my friends, one of my cars, one of my flights, one of the flights. So when you are referring like this, using this in singularity is an error. So you will have to stick to the plural formation. One of the flights is late is correct. Let us now move on to the next one, using the negative phrases like she had not, hardly, or barely, or scarcely slept when the alarm went off. Well, these terms, hardly, barely, and scarcely, already are negative terms. These are already negative terms, and when you use them, try not using the word not. Not also is negative, and hardly, barely, scarcely are also negative. So using two negative terms in same statement would only mean redundant. Therefore, avoid them and try using it like this. She had hardly or barely or scarcely slept when the alarm went off. She had hardly slept when the alarm went off. She had barely slept when the alarm went off. She had scarcely slept when the alarm went off. So be mindful of these things and these words and avoid using the word not when you are using these terms. Now, the next one is with the simple past. Well, simple past uses subject and then past tense. But when you convert the sentences into negative, you introduce the word did. And what we do is we keep the main verb in past tense, which is actually incorrect. When you introduce the word did, the main verb is supposed to be converted into present. Even though it is in past tense, it is supposed to be converted into present. If you say he did not slept well, it is incorrect. If you say I did not saw him there, it is incorrect. The correct usage would be he did not sleep. You are supposed to use the present root verb even though if it is simple past, because to show the past tense we have already used the word did, and this means that this word should be used in present tense. Similarly, I did not see. I did not see. See is your present root verb because you have already used did to show the past tense. Therefore, this is the correct usage. He did not sleep well. I did not see him there. Using slept and saw means it is incorrect. Let us now go to the next one, and that is with the simple present tense. And like I told you about the phrase did, the same goes with does as well, but does is used in present tense. Now, does he read? Now, you have already used the word does, therefore, you do not have to use S over here like this in this statement. Does he reads? This is a pretty common mistake that we all do. Because it is present tense, and we know that with he we always are supposed to use pluses, but that has been used over here with the verb does. Therefore, your next main verb should be without s. You should not use plus s over here when you use does in a statement, which means you are supposed to say it like this: does he read, not does he reads. Similarly, does she cook, not does she cooks. Does it walk, not does it walks. If you use plus s in both the verbs, it again means it is redundant. So be mindful of these errors and be careful while you are using these terms in your communicative English. Do leave your comments below. And do not forget to subscribe and do not forget to hit the bell icon. And also, the most important thing of all, remember to type that code TA01 if you want that extra discount on your subscription. Also, join our Telegram group for latest updates on our upcoming videos. Well, till then, have a good day. Bye bye.